Good evening, everybody. This is William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1, and welcome to another Saturday Marathon. This time we are going to be discussing the Daily Beast article having to do with the grifters. And so what I'm going to do is, while we're getting warmed up a little bit, I'm going to get the article up and running. I'm going to go through it a little bit. No, I don't want that one. Okay. Got that part done. Boom. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Okay. I'll put myself right in the middle here. No, actually, I'm just gonna bring myself right here. Okay. Now, as some of you might be aware, a while back, I put out a little video and said that there was going to be breaking news coming up, and guess what? This is the breaking news. Apparently, for several months, Bill Sommer, who is a reporter for the Daily Beast, I don't know what's causing the echo. Let me see if I can find it. I've got more than one thing open, so maybe I can cut it out. Let's see. Yep. Still got an echo. Yeah, I'm using different software, and it's just, I don't know where is the echo coming from? Now, that's the mic. Yeah. Okay, I think, no, still got the echo. I don't know why I'm... Alright, well, I managed to... Alright, this is not a professional operation. Somewhere I've got I don't know what's causing the echo. I guess I'm just going to have to put up with it. Not sure why that's happening. Oh, okay, because I'm getting an echo in my headset, so that must be it's confined to the headset. As long as I've got an audio output, that's fine. Whew. All right, let me bring my volume up. Microphone. All right. Gotta love this software. I'm using OBS instead of vMix because there's a problem with the software that I haven't resolved, and I would have to go through a bunch of calisthenics, or else put up the laptop and use that as a live stream source. So I'm having to put up with this at least through the weekend, because I'll be doing another live stream tomorrow, but more on that later. Anyway, well, we're getting a few people in here. And getting back to the matter at hand. So anyway, he wrote this article about QAnon, and he started off talking about ALUS Slayman. Now, I remember seeing this video, and the guy was live on social media. He was being chased by the police, and I thought, well, just another goofy QAnon, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out, if you read the article, that he was actually inspired by Timothy Holmseth in his rantings on the internet. That it was that encouragement that, basically got him. Alright, I'm trying to fix something here. Alright, that's going to have to do. Anyway, Agent Cyanide. Okay, that's a new one. And welcome, Agent Cyanide. Getting off to a decent early start tonight. Anyway, this guy, he... I can't play this because there's an advertisement on it and all that. But he was saying, QAnon, help me. And it was just a strange situation. But I encourage people to read this article if you haven't already. It's amazing. And what I did is I've got the Twitter link open because they don't have a share icon on the article itself. But I'm going to repost it again because I'm not sure if when you come in after the chat started, if you see the original, the chat from the beginning. So there's the link again. But I had not realized that this is a direct... Oh, there's nothing wrong with your name. Agent Cyanide. It's kind of an interesting, not tonight. His name is not censored tonight. Because, as I have stated in the past, when I talk about Tim Homestead, that has to do with significant events. And this is significant in that he has got himself mentioned by one of the larger social media websites. This is actually a legitimate publication here. It's not mainstream media, so you can't use that. Yes, I did, Agent Cyanide, and the reason I did so is because it was for a brief period, and it was because any attention that Tim Homestead gets, he seems to thrive on it, even though this is probably the smallest YouTube channels on the internet that criticizes him. For some reason, he's got a royal burr up his ass when it comes to this particular channel, and so does his handler. And so I don't understand why I am the center of attention. You got websites like the Daily Beast. You've got Mako, and all these other people. There's at least 60 sites that are exposing Tim Homestead's fraud. So I didn't censor it so much as I just didn't mention it. And I basically said, well, if you support Tim Homestead, you really aren't welcome, and that still is the case because this is not a propaganda arm for Tim Homestead. It's a social media site that is discussing the fraud of Timothy Homestead. And now a very large online publication is exposing Tim Homestead, and those around him are frauds. Okay, Rich Hall is asking a question. Are you a Democrat? Just wondering. No, I am not registered to any political party. I'm what you call an independent. No political affiliation. Now, do I support Democrats more than I support Republicans? I suppose you could say yes. I'm going to be honest to that. And if since some of you are new, you may not realize that 90% of the people that come in here on a regular basis are Trump supporters. But we're not here to discuss Trump or Biden or anyone else. Our primary purpose is to discuss fraud. And in spite of whatever political affiliation these people have, and unfortunately it is on the Republican side and to the extreme right, they are frauds. They're talking about this Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, which does not exist. It's a way of parting people out of their money. So if you're going to discount this channel because I am leaning towards the Democratic presidential candidates, then, that's just the way it is. I'm not going to hide my personal opinions. Everybody votes for whoever they want to vote for. But I'm not going to sit here and say, well, if you're a Trump supporter, you can't come in here, because then I probably wouldn't have anybody left. Agent, I don't know if that is a perversion or just an outright fraud. The ranch in question, by the way, was owned by a billionaire who got his money from the oil business, and he was selling the estate. And it was being sold, or is being sold, for an astonishing amount of money. Now, I don't know where anybody thought that Field McConnell was going to be able to come up with that kind of money. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars for one of the largest ranches in the state of Texas. And I believe the billionaire was Boone Pickens, if I remember right. He's kind of an interesting name, and he's very well known. Agent Cyanide says that they wanted to abuse children. Field admitted he had sexual thoughts about children. Well, that's I have that possibility in mind. I saw the speech that Field McConnell made. It's been played several times. Agent 19 did a segment on it. And, Field McConnell gets up in front of a bunch of people and says he has thoughts when it comes to abusing and having sex with children. And I don't have thoughts of that sort of thing. It's sick and it's disgusting. I was astonished that Field McConnell would even say something like that. If he had the thoughts, why the hell say it in public? It just made his case worse. And as for Holmseth, just to enlarge my picture here for a moment, Tim writes this book, and in the header, very first thing right out of the gate in the introduction, which is entitled Hell, he writes almost the same thing. He writes about being stuck in an anus, or a creature stuck in his anus. I mean, the language Tim used in this book is unreal. And it's, right out of the gate. And stuff he's written throughout the years touches on graphic sexual topics. When you get into Haley Cummings, he says that there's pictures of her with sexual damage and all. It's all perverted. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome to the chat. So, you go through the history of everything he's written. It's all graphic. It's about children. It's about, naturally, since he claims to be this big crusader for children, you're going to touch on the subject in some detail. But he goes to extremes. And then somebody somehow publishes a picture of him standing or leaning against his son who's dressed up like a little girl, and then you go back and you read the transcript of a custody battle that went on between him and the mother of his son, you gotta wonder what's going on here. There's ways to discuss sex trafficking, child abuse, and if you believe in such a thing, satanic ritual abuse, without getting so graphic about it. It's exploitation. And now, Agent, he has this obsession with the JonBenét Ramsey case, and he's had it for a long time. I think just prior to his interest in the JonBenét Ramsey case, he had the obsession, or still does to some degree, in the Haley Cummings case. And it's what got him on the path that's led things to where they are now. He tried to get involved in the Haley Cummings case, and those who were working on the case, trying to figure out what happened to the little girl, and trying to get information out on a national basis. Tim comes in, wants to join them, and they said, no, we're fine. We're perfectly capable of doing this on our own. We don't need your help. And he got mad at him, and the next thing you know, he's going after them as the primary suspect. And that's the entire book is about that. Okay, I'm reading, I Will Verify That from 2009. Shar, I agree. He's had a fascination with children, mainly little girls, and this goes back a decade. Because, the exception to that is the Waterlane case, or however you pronounce that. He barged into that case through, and they rebuffed him as well, because he took information from that case and went and I don't know. It was a strange situation. I was on what video? Okay, I'm trying to... MySpace was on live video. Well, yeah, you must be talking about when I had my Pal Talk room and Ustream and like that, the reason for that was the Caylee Anthony case, which happened less than a half-hour drive from where I am right now. It was a local case. I happened to have a live truck that came off lease, so I turned around and I engineered it to live stream mobile. I was one of the first people to do that in this part of the country. And, that's the reason I did that, because I'm into technology. I try to come up with different and unique ways to do things online, and I do cross-utilization of equipment, repurposing equipment, which is what we did with the live truck, and I covered the searches and everything. But, I'll be the first to admit I made some amateurish mistakes back then. I did things I would have done completely different if I had to do over again, but, nobody's perfect. And if Tim were to say, well, I made a mistake in this, that, and the other thing, you could excuse him. But Tim will never admit when he's wrong. And because of that, you can't cut him any slack. And then he turns around and he comes up with these outrageous lies about things. He comes up with this Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, which is a complete fiction. It does not exist. It never has existed. It's just, he's just made up. And it's against the law, as a matter of fact. It's a felony because he's pretending to be an agent of the federal government. And you can't do that. And he's, on top of that, he's doing it for money, because he's got a GoFundMe and PayPal and all this other stuff set up to collect money based on his actions and his claims. And that's a violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. So, well, exploitation of children, I think is what you meant. But, this is what he does. And this, he did it with the raccoon children. He said that the raccoon eyes thing was a result of child abuse, and it wasn't. It was a result of a medical thing. I don't know, a form of cancer or what have you. He completely misrepresented the photograph that was used. He exploited that child, and he didn't say anything about, oh, this was because of cancer or anything. He turned around and said, this is this great plot against children, and that this children was one of those involved, and that's a flat-out lie. And he did it with the vegetable children. He went and got a picture that was made by a Russian woman that had the picture of the child in a bunch of food. And it turned out that the woman, who's known as Misha, very famous in Russia. They do a lot of weird stuff in that country. But she has a book, and it's called Vegetable Children, or something along the lines. And she takes, for whatever dumb reason, and she'll put a kid on a platter and put tomatoes all over him. I think she had tomato sauce on him. And, it's a dumbass stuff. And he misrepresented. He said, oh, this is people eating babies. And so he got what he deserved. The Daily Beast came along and said the same thing I've been saying for years, that this guy's going around perverting the plight of children. And Bill Sommer went into great detail and said, look, this is what these people are doing. And on top of that, they're getting people to do things that endanger children, like this idiot that went running around in a van, got into a police chase, and the only way the police got him to stop is they shot out his tires, and he crashed into a tree. All this with children in the van. And his own daughter tried to get the guy to knock it off. The daughter says, hey, you're putting us in danger. Quit. She tried to grab the wheel, stop the van, and she finally said something to him. I'd have to go down to the article and find it, to where, look, I'll go. She had to go along with him to some degree to get him to calm down long enough to try and stop him. I mean, it was weird. Mary, I can't remember the pictures you were talking about. Most of the time, he uses pictures from foreign sources. The vegetable baby was Russia, and so were the Raccoon-kins was over from that part of the world. I don't know exactly where, but he does this. He exploits pictures of children for his own purposes, and so do his followers. These QAnons, no matter where you stand on them, there are those in the movement that are abusing children to get their point across, I guess, or whatever it is. Agent, I really don't know. I doubt it. Agent is asking if Tim Holmseth might be involved in bestiality, and I doubt it. Tim is too much of a wuss, to get involved in that. That involves physical pain and torture, and I don't think he'd get involved in something like that. But you never know. He's just weird without having to go into those areas, so that, Yeah, the panda eyes, Mary, came from an article that was done by a doctor where they were treating the child in question for this affliction. And subsequent pictures show the little girl cured of the disease. I guess there's a procedure or something to get rid of the effects that causes the panda eyes. You'd have to ask him that. But the context of that introduction was that he apparently had gotten so drunk that he was very close to dying. He was on the floor of a mental institution and he had a dream. And so when he wrote the introduction, he was accounting the dream. And it was very graphic. And it was about a creature in his anus, to be specific, eating him. And it's a disgusting thing to read. I actually read it out on one of the earliest exposés I've did on this channel, and it's weird. Well, anything is possible, I suppose, Agent. If he's into bestiality, that might be an indication of it. The problem is, I'm not going to go around accusing somebody of something like that. If he's into that, he's into that. But he's exposed. He's exposed for being a fraud. Because my primary concern is the fact that Tim Holmseth, Field McConnell, and these other people are misrepresenting themselves for a variety of reasons, the primary one of which is to get money. And they come up with this task force and the Children's Crusade for the express purpose of sucking money out of the pockets of people who believe they're crap. Well, they may be right, The thing, you can have an opinion that says, Tim Holmseth is a pedophile. He's called me a pedophile, so I guess it's fair game. But when you have a picture of the father of a son posing with that weird look on his face, with his arm around his son, and the son is dressed up like a little girl, you gotta wonder. And then there's the transcripts about where there has been a history of the family dressing this child up as a little girl. And, the transcripts that came out in the court case are very revealing. Tim Holmseth actually had to be told to take the pictures of. He had a thing of Haley Cummings up on the wall of his kind of so-called office in his apartment, and the judge said, "Take it down when that kid is around," because the kid was complaining about it. He said, "My father is paying more attention to this little girl in Florida than he is to me." The kid had come over for visitation, and all Tim would talk about is Haley Cummings and the case and his big investigation. Yeah, it's like, geez. Of course, there's a whole bunch of people that believe Tim Holmseth is a pedophile. But he may be. But the problem is, there hasn't been anything done legally to pin that on him. So you have to say alleged or it's an opinion. You can't come out and say absolute, because you get into some legal hot water when you do that. But that he does that to me. I mean, I am a pedophile in Tim Holmseth's eyes. He puts out material that is a complete fraud that law enforcement has looked at, and they said, well, this is obviously made up. But he puts it out there anyway. But, he did insert himself in the Cummings case. And he tried to get on the team that Kim and other people had organized in order to try and find out what happened to the child. Tim got mad because he was rejected, and the result was this book. And it's speculation, hearsay, and opinion. It's not actual fact. Because if there was anything that Homestead said was true, then there would have been an investigation. Law enforcement would have stepped in. People would have been deposed. There would have been polygraph examinations and all that. None of that happened because it was clear that she was not a suspect. And so then he turns around and goes after the law enforcement. But it's one thing to get involved in something, and it's another to barge in where you're not wanted. I mean, Tim Homestead could have discussed the case. He could have done his own thing without lying about people. But Tim can't avoid lying. I gotta fix something here right away, so I'm gonna lose audio for a second. Well, maybe I won't either, because my headphone cord's getting all twisted up, and I gotta unplug it in order to fix it. Just stand by a second. Testing. Okay, I need an audio check from you guys. I had to unplug this temporarily, and I just want to make sure I've got audio. It's showing audio up on here, so hopefully I've got audio. Okay, thanks, Rebecca. I lost the audio, or I lost the echo that I had in my headset, and I want to make sure that, I still had audio on here. So that's good. That's one way to get rid of an echo. I kept getting the echo on my headset, and so, okay. So let me catch up on the chat here a little bit. Now, Agent Cyanide, a long time ago, Levi Page wanted to debate Tim Homestead. He said, "Come on my show, let's talk about it. You made these accusations against me. Come on, let's do it." Tim turned him down. Tim refuses. Now, Bill Summer of the Daily Beast reached out, tried to get a hold of Tim Homestead, tried to get a hold of Field McConnell, tried to get a hold of Randy Erickson and others, and they all refused to talk to him. Now, these people are crying and whining about they're not being paid attention to, that nobody discusses these missing children. Here was their opportunity to get on there and say, no, you're wrong. This is what the Pentagon Task Force is and all this. They could have defended themselves. And they said no. Randy Erickson calls it a clown show. And this is a website that has a huge following. I mean, the Twitter account alone. Let me look at their Daily Beast has 1,200,000 followers on their website. Right there, my cursor, I guess, is showing up. But they have 1,200,000 followers. That's a lot of people. This is their website, thedailybeast.com. And, they do a lot of different stuff. They're politically neutral, is what they say. And so, you get somebody that big. Here's an opportunity for Tim Holmseth, Randy Erickson, and all these other people to get their story out. Tell their side of the story. And what does she do? She calls it a clown show. She said, no, we're not going anywhere near, because they know they get torn to shreds, because they're liars, they're frauds, and they're criminals. Always connect the dots. That's Slimmer and so forth. There was a video that Craig Sawyer made, and the one thing he said check your sources, vet your sources, and that's actually good advice. Don't take my word for it or anybody else's word for it. Do your own research, and then you can draw your conclusion based on what's out there already. You can either decide to support this guy in this group or not. Is Sarah in DC? I don't know what you're talking about. I am losing. Let me. Who the hell is Sarah? We're... Okay, because I'm completely lost here as to what's going on. Well, I remember Cobra. I actually met him personally, because he came to Orlando during the search for Kaylee Anthony, and there was a ceremony for Kaylee that was held, and he showed up at that, so I did see him personally. Oh, yeah, Ryan, now I remember. We're talking about the Dunklin thing. I didn't know she was in Washington. I thought she was in Arkansas. Because she's got her own legal troubles. Plus, she's probably going to wind up. She's probably going to wind up in getting in the middle of this Abzug thing. So I'm waiting to see what happens tomorrow. It's Texas EquiSearch. EQ. It's a hard thing to spell. It's EQQSCARCH or something like that. Northern California. But because, Sarah Dunklin is said to be the money behind a lot of what happened with Cynthia Abzug. She paid for gas in the car for them to stay different places. She was trying, allegedly, to arrange for a diplomatic passport through an intermediary in Virginia. Eventually, Cynthia wound up, for a while, being in Arkansas, where they lived. What in the world? She's waving underwear in court? That's not going to do her a hell of a lot of good if she's trying to regain custody of her child. I mean, gee whiz. There's some weird people out there. I mean, the thing of it is, there is a cycle of abuse, both by CPS and by some of the women that CPS has to get in on. I mean, there's always room for improvement with CPS, but, you don't go and get yourself weapons, join up with Q, and attempt to kidnap your child away from the foster parents. That's the wrong-headed way of going about it. She's facing years in prison now, probably is never going to see her child again because she joined up with people like Phil McConnell and went on this sightseeing tour of the eastern United States and got her ass arrested in the middle of nowhere, and it was probably on the way to Canada. So, okay, I'm trying to get who is who here. Who is Ryan in here? Because if I remember correctly, Ryan is the one that was with Cynthia when all this went down. Or well, okay. If that's verifiable, that's fine. I gotta double check this. I just had a beep in my headphones. Okay, yeah. Well, if Ryan is in here, I wish he would be honest and say yes, because there's a lot of questions I would like to ask him. Now, the thing that Ryan needs to understand is that Cynthia is. Now, is Ryan affiliated with Cynthia, or is he affiliated with Sarah Dunklin? Because there's, boyfriends of both of these women out there. So what I'm trying to get, is for you to tell your story of. So you're not Ryan or the other guy. Okay. We have no. Yeah. So don't. There's this thing that for whatever reason people start to speculate when these unknown people come in here that don't identify who they are. So they just speculate. There are some trolls I get when we know that who it is that they are, but in this case, but the one thing I'll say right offhand is I'm not taking a side when it comes to the Cynthia Abzug situation. Whether she is entitled to have her kids back or not, that should have been done in a more sensible way, rather than get involved with people that persuaded her to take these extreme actions to the point where now she's facing federal charge, or facing charges of attempted kidnapping. And Sarah Dunklin, she's alleged to have been the one that financed this operation. Now, so Sarah's got her legal problems. And now, so according to Alex, now Cynthia Abzug is going to have a termination hearing in December. And, because of what she did with QAnon, she is likely going to lose permanently the custody of her child. Whether that's right or not in the eyes of those who debate that specific case, that is exactly what's going to happen, because she exercised extremely poor judgment by skipping out to begin with, getting involved with these people, and having her own daughter go to the authorities and say, "Hey, look, my mother wants to kidnap my sibling, who is in foster care. She's gotten mixed up with these QAnon crackpots and this Children's Crusade and the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, and these people that say they're agents of the federal government And, and she's running around with a gun. What do you expect's going to happen? She's basically shot herself in the foot. And then you got Tim Holseth going, with what he does. It's just a world of the crazy out there, which is a good description that Bill put on his article that he did. Now, tomorrow, part 2 is going to come out, and part 2 is going to get into specific detail. From what I understand, I haven't had advance information from Bill on this. We're going to get into a fair amount of detail about Cynthia Abzug and her pending case. The end of September, she has a arraignment hearing, and then after that, the ball rolls. Kirk Pendergrass has basically gone off, and they're doing their educational series. They've gotten, they're receding back into their own little world and trying to get away from the situation, but they may not be able to, because Bill Summer has blown them wide open, and they may wind up getting involved in the Abzug case, especially if Cynthia decides to turn state's evidence and say, these are the people responsible for me being in this situation in the first place. So if I go down, they need to go down as well. Mary, 2 of the children are my family members. Are these... remind me again what children you're talking about. Are these pictures that Timothy has used in his article, or what's going on? Because I'm not always looking at the chat, so it flows by before I can. How did I get what pictures? Any pictures that I got came from Tim Holseth. I extracted pictures from his articles when he's talking about, putting children's pictures in articles. So I need clarification as to exactly what children we're talking about here. Ruby. So somebody could get. I'm having to go back up through the chat to try and figure out what's going on here. Okay. Oh, really? Because I was under the impression that the one child was from overseas. But yeah, if that's your children, then, I wasn't aware of it. Because I was researching panda eyes, and what I did is I put the pictures through an image search through a number of utilities, and what they did is the links to the one picture in particular came to a little girl overseas that had this condition, and they got into it. And there was a lot, and there were pictures on YouTube of the panda eyes children. And so I may have accidentally come across yours. But the fact of the matter is, the children that Tim Holmseth used in his article were the ones that I backtracked to try and figure out where the hell they came from. And that's exactly what it is. It's burst blood vessels in the children's eyes, and it creates these panda eye effect. And, Tim Holmseth goes on the internet and he looks for stuff like this. Or there's people that supply him with this material, And then he makes up his own narrative and falsifies what the picture represents. He doesn't get into the medical condition at all. Uh, you know, so I don't know all the time where the pictures come from and if there's somebody that's directly involved. All I know is Tim Holmseth is misrepresenting the image. And this is what happens. Tim Holmseth exploits people's children for his own purposes, and then people wind up getting upset because then all of a sudden they're seeing their kids on his website and on my website, and they're wondering how the hell did these pictures get on these various websites. You know, it's just part of the problem. You know, Tim Holmseth, for whatever reason, has to lie. Now, if he was truly into fighting the sex trafficking, the child trafficking, pedophilia, and all this other stuff, there's plenty of factual information out there that he could use. But to sensationalize it by saying there's 35,000 kids that were yanked out of a cave in California when it's not true is distorting everything. And what winds up happening is people just dismiss the whole thing altogether, and it diverts away from those who are actually guilty of these crimes. You know, so it's, you know, and then, you know, here's someone who claims that their children were used, and the pictures were used either by me or by Tim, in this expose, and so innocent people are put into a situation because some guy in Minnesota decided to lie about their medical condition. You know, and Tim doesn't care. None of these people care. You know, they just, you know, they get off on creating these gigantic lies. And this is what is brought out in this particular article. In the Daily Beast, is you get this exposure of these weird people. Yeah, and this has been a long time coming. There's been a group of us who have been trying to get to the bottom of this stuff for years. Before the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force was even created by Randy Erickson. She isn't as much admitted that she created the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. It wasn't created by President Trump. It wasn't created by the Pentagon or anyone other than Randy Lynn Erickson. You know, she created it, and, you know, she promotes it. And it's the same with the task force. Oh, Anthony Morgan. Okay, yeah, Morgan, I know you. Took me a while to figure it out. Well, I'm sorry, Mary. I didn't realize they were connected to you. Because I was just trying to figure out where the hell he got the pictures from. Because, you know, what I do, and what I used to do anyway, when I see something that Tim Holmseth writes, I vet the material to try and figure out if he's telling the truth, and if not, where the hell these images came from. So I backlogged them, like I described earlier, and found out that it had to do with raccoon eyes and had nothing to do with what he was writing about. You know, so, you know, I apologize that, you know, your children wound up in the middle of this mess. Yeah, I probably should use MySpace. But yeah, I remember Morgan from quite a few things, so he's... But, Tim, he's a strange puppy. You have to admit that he's skilled in how he manipulates social media. He's got a little bit of an empire, so to speak. He's got his blog, he's got his Facebook page, and however many number of websites, all these files and stuff. He's a published author, such as it is. And yet he wastes the resources with these lies of his. And he destroys people unnecessarily in the process. And if you cross them, all of a sudden, you're a pedophile. He's done it with 2 people that tried to help him out in a situation where they were trying to keep his property from being stolen. They stored his car and everything. And he turned around and called both of them pedophiles. That is the Daily Beast. They did an article on Tim Holmseth, Phil McConnell, our folks over at E-Clause, and he went through detail as to how everything went. He even went after, Margaritaville, who is actually the father of the Children's Crusade. And tomorrow, he's going to release the second part of this article that has to do primarily with Cynthia Abzug. So what the hell's going on in chat now? Chris Hallett is just as much of a fraud as the rest of these yo-yos. Hi, Dodger. Welcome to the chat. Chat is getting fairly interesting tonight. I'm learning new things and trying to sort things out at the same time. But if you haven't done so, read this article. It's I'm learning. I read this article and I learned things that I didn't know, and I've been trying to expose this idiot and his, Tim Holmseth and these other yo-yos for years, and Bill Sommer comes along and basically puts it out there in explicit detail about where he thinks that QAnon comes from, and connecting the dots on all the abuses that have happened. But this story of Slyman is unbelievable. And what it's saying is that Tim Holmseth is directly I don't know what everybody that's known me for a while knows my opinion of QAnon. I try to be respectful of those that believe in it, but I have very strong opinions when it comes to QAnon. So. Well, if it's Dunklin's boyfriend, he might as well admit it. He says he's not, but I don't know. The problem is you get people come in here with a username and you have no idea who they are. They could be anybody. And the thing about it with Q is everybody says that Q is this, Q is that. There is no proof of who or what Q is. It's like anonymous. It's you sit there and you put a Q up on your social media site, and all of a sudden you're Q, or a member of Q, and it's where goes one, goes we all, or whatever the hell that motto is, and it's just, QAnon is just another anonymous thing, and whoever started the thing, it's, as far as I'm concerned, nobody's showed me with any convincing evidence who started QAnon and what his credentials or his, hers, or their credentials are. I've been told that QAnon is actually an operation of the Soviet Union or Russia. Hi Kim, welcome. Yeah, well, you missed a lot of fun, Kim. I'm glad you came in here. A little bit surprising. But, I'm always glad, you're always welcome in here. I appreciate you showing up. Levi was in here. I don't know if he still is. He came in early in the in the stream when I was having audio problems. And so, it's somewhat lively thing in here. I, going back and forth discussing the story by Daily Beast, and somebody said that Sarah Dunklin's boyfriend is in here, but there's no verification of that. So it's been the usual weirdness when it comes to my live stream. But what's interesting is Kim Boccasio's mentioned quite a bit in here, and for good reason, because Tim Holmseth has had a target on Kim's back since 2009, 2010. And, she is smack in the middle of this book. This book is basically Tim's stalking and attacking Kim. Everything in this book is Kim. And that's the reason she took out the legal action against him, is because he wouldn't leave her alone. Tim Holmseth is no investigative reporter. Tim Holmseth is some clown who just for whatever reason decided to insert him into a case in a state that he's never been to, and ruined a lot of lives in the process, and continues to ruin lives. And now you've got this real estate, whatever the hell she is, up in Minnesota, who is stepping in and doing the exact same thing that Tim Holmseth was said not to do. We have Picasso Gate now all over YouTube on 3 different sites. Hi, Jolly Bridge, welcome. And I'm going to say welcome to everybody in here. I've been busy trying to leaf through the article a little bit, trying to figure out what I'm going to discuss here. But, the best thing anybody can do is to read the Daily Beast article, because it gets, it gets into detail. This is a reputable organization, whether you believe their political leanings or what they write about politics. But Bill has been concerned about the direction that QAnon's been going for quite a while. And in his research, he came across this bunch. And, it's the Children's Crusade Pentagon Pedophile Task Force group is a good representation of what is wrong with the Q movement. That these people are putting this outlandish crap out there, and people are sucking it in. So, yeah, you know, read the article, judge for yourself, and boy, you know, I am looking very forward to tomorrow's installment. Bill is doing a second part to this article, and it's said that there's going to be an explosive amount of information coming out. And like I said earlier, this is only the beginning, because as usually what happens in these stories is that once a periodical like the Daily Beast picks up a story like this, everybody jumps on the bandwagon. You're going to see more and more large media start looking into this situation. So Tim Homestead for years is always trying to get people to pay attention to him and his story and his accusations. Well, now he got what he wanted. And there's the old adage, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. Because Tim is finding out that being famous is not all it's cracked up to be. It comes at a cost. You know, I learned that hard lesson because I was, you know, I had my 15 minutes, and it was the longest 15 minutes of my life, and now it's Timmy's turn. You know, up until now, Timmy's just been this, you know, one of a multitude of these conspiracy nuts that say these weird things, and not many people pay attention to him. Now, this whole thing has exploded. You know, you got a periodical here that has 1 million followers on Twitter. You know, I don't know what their circulation is, but this is a major publication in the social media circles and in political circles, because, you know, this has gone from a true crime to a political situation. And so there's that. You know, so he's getting more and more known. We're going to see a lot more of these large publications start chasing this story down and find out just exactly what the hell is going on. And it doesn't look good for any of these people, especially when you get the Cynthia Abzug case coming out. You got the Field McConnell trial coming up. You've got this situation with Sarah Dunklin and her custody situation, and she may also find herself facing criminal charges by the time all the dust settles on this stuff. And then now, you know, there's the case with the woman from Kentucky who, you know, yanked her 2 kids out of her mother's house and went off gallivanting and shacked up with a sovereign citizen for a while. You know, all hell's going to break loose here over the next few months. You know, as the COVID thing settles down enough to where these courts open up, you know, these people, yeah, you're correct, Dodger, they're going to fall like dominoes. You know, you get to a point where if you get to be a thorn in the side of the right people, they're going to want to pull that thorn out. And this is going to happen both through social media, possibly through mainstream media, and then we're going to start seeing the government come in and say enough of this crap. Because Tim Homestead and his handler are claiming to be agents of the United States government for the purposes of seeking revenue and attention. And the government's going to say, hey, you can't do that. You know, people are calling us up wondering what the hell is this Pentagon Pedophile Task Force? And the Joint Operations Command is now looking into what the hell's going on, because their organization is all over YouTube with these weird videos. You know, and they're not going to put up with that. And if people start calling up the Joint Operations Command and saying, "What's this thing over on YouTube with you people talking about, people from Florida being pedophiles and being part of sex trafficking and stuff? This isn't what your organization's supposed to be about." And it's, there could be all kinds of stuff going along on there. There we go. Yeah, Levi, I don't know if you saw Kim. She's in here someplace, or was. I haven't been following the chat, so I don't know if you two connected yet. Yeah. Yeah, he pops in and out every once in a while, so he probably worn off. But, so you get, all this attention drawn towards you, and you gotta wonder, is it worth having all this attention? Now we're going to find out if it's worth having all the attention. Timmy is scared of his own shadow. He doesn't like to be confronted because, and I'll tell you from personal experience, you do not want to get on the bad side of Alex because she will peel you like an onion. And if it's, if she feels that you're doing something you're not supposed to be, she's going to let you know it in a quick hurry. But the nice thing about Alex is when she sees that she's made an error in judgment, she's quick to say, "Well, look, I messed up. I was wrong." She admits when she makes mistakes, as do I. So, that's the good thing. But Tim Holmseth does not want to get on the bad side. Well, he already is. But you do not want to get on the bad side of Alex Goddard. And if you want to see how powerful Alex Goddard is, go over to Netflix and watch Roll, Red, Roll. And see just how effective this woman can be when she decides to do something. Well, Agent, he is scared of her because, Alex will let him have it. Now, what generally happens is his handler, Randy Erickson, does his speaking for him. The task force and all these other things that are out there on YouTube is not Tim Holmseth, it's her, because Tim Holmseth is barred from YouTube. And so Randy Erickson comes along and is basically taking the operation over, and she is the one that's putting up all this material. So, yeah, I can imagine that Holmseth is dumpster diving, but, if not for the money coming from Erickson and the promotion that's going on, Tim Holmseth would be nothing. Because prior to him getting involved with Alex Jones, of all people, Tim was going nowhere. And then all of a sudden he got involved with Alex Jones, somehow got on the radar of Randy Erickson, and this is what started the ball rolling. Because if you go back, as far as Randy Erickson's concerned, and the PPTF and the Children's Crusade, this has all been fairly recent, within 1-2 years. We're coming up on 1 year that Tim Holmseth has been on the run with a misdemeanor warrant hanging over his head. 1 year. And he had met up with Phil McConnell July before that, either June or July. So it's not been very long. And it took from July to November for Tim Holmseth to ruin things for Phil McConnell. And now Phil McConnell is under house arrest, waiting for the courts to open up in Florida. And at least he's added, he's basically got, 3 squares and a nice comfortable bed with his son. But he's basically erased from the internet. He can't say a word. Yeah, they put pictures up of him holding a hammer or else in the kitchen to the house, but he can't promote himself. So he's effectively shut down. Yeah, and people are allegedly making money from him. We got this Kathy person who declares that she's made over $50,000 for him, and Dr. Good Vibes is, he's got his own separate thing that he did. So there's, a lot of people out there that are circulating a lot of money. And, where's all this money going? Because I don't think the attorney needs $50,000 or anywhere near it. So there's something going on here. Well, Sharp, I would not be surprised if he is testifying, because it's the only way he's going to get out of this situation is to turn state's evidence. And, I'm pretty sure him and his son have had pretty long talks about this situation, and the lawyers joined in and say, this is what we can do to get you out of this mess. And it's going to, if Field McConnell cooperates with the prosecution, there's a good chance that he could walk with time served. And he had better hope to God he doesn't get tangled up in the Cynthia Abzug case, because that's far more serious than what he's facing in Florida. And there's other, Bill McConnell's got a lot of legal troubles. It's alleged that he threatened the life of someone in Wisconsin, banking official or somewhere along that line. So he's got that hanging over his head. And there's a long statute of limitation when it comes to that stuff. So he's not out of the woods in a lot of this stuff. He better have a real long and sensible talk with that lawyer he's got and figure out the best option for getting out of this mess. And that getting out of the mess is to turn state's evidence against a whole bunch of people. And that's where things need to go here. And I knew that sooner or later something like this was going to happen, that someone with the influence, the power, and the resources was going to start looking into these people and bring this to attention to a sufficient number of people and diverse people that perhaps Field, Tim, and these other people are going to be held accountable for their actions. And it looks like the Daily Beast is the beginning of the end of this sort of thing. That people are going to start looking into what the hell's going on here, and there's going to be follow-ups. There's going to be phones that are going to be ringing off the hook to the authorities to say, hey, you need to do something about this. These people need to be an example that is set so that anybody else being involved in this nonsense can bail before they get caught. Well, that's the spin you put on it. Sharp, you say, yeah, he was arrested, so he can put all this stuff in the court. And he could have done it without getting arrested. I mean, there's such a thing as a friend of the court brief, and there's all kinds of things. But he had a big platform. Field McConnell had a huge social media following. He had his YouTube channel had thousands of subscribers, and he had a good format. He would he had like a variety show, and he was going great guns until Tim Holmseth came along. Tim Holmseth ruined everything. If you go back and look at Field McConnell before the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, he had a huge presence, global presence. He was going over to England, having these conferences, talking about drone aircraft and all this stuff. Tim Holmseth comes along, gets him off topic, and he winds up in jail. Tim Homeseth ruined Field McConnell. And as soon as Field McConnell figures that out, Tim is doomed. Because Field McConnell will be the canary that sings. And he's going to sing long and loud. But now we know why Tim Homeseth has not been on the internet. Has nothing to do with being on assignment, has nothing to do with taking a vacation. It has nothing to do with the situation with his daughter. It has to do with the fact that once the Daily Beast put a bullseye on him, he ran. He says he knew he was in trouble. He didn't want to get involved. He didn't want to have things up on the internet for the Daily Beast to use against him, which is too late. And he got out of there. Randy probably told him to shut up and go hide. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's hiding. Because he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be anywhere near this situation. So. Yeah, sorry about the. I was trying to do something here, and I'm bouncing around. Agent Cyanide, I don't think that's Tim. I think that's Randy doing it again. Now, if it is Tim, he's, all you can do is say, well, maybe it is. Because the problem is Tim using a name other than his own is not accomplishing anything. He's got another pretend Facebook name out there. But until or unless Tim Homeseth comes on the air as himself, live on the air with something current, you can only conclude that he is running away from the Daily Beast. He's scared of the Daily Beast, and for good reason. You don't want to get on the bad side of a publication this big, because they will have you for lunch, especially if they have facts to back up their article, which Bill has. He spent months, from what I understand, according to his Twitter account, going after these people. Let me do something here. I'm gonna. Trying to find something. Well, let's see if this is gonna. Yeah, I'm trying to center this particular. Oh. Yeah, I was going to show something, but it's not allowing, so that ain't going to work. Yeah, do it that way. What the hell? But, Tim, basically all he can do is hide. I doubt that he's, we have gone through quite a bit of time that this story's been out. He would have had plenty of time to make one of his little videos and put it up on Facebook saying, whatever he wants to say about this article. but he's been remarkably quiet. And it's been admitted by Randy that Tim Holmseth has been on vacation since July 24th. Now, I would imagine that it has been because of the Daily Beast doing research into the story and probably trying to contact people to get their input, and they basically said, "Oh God, we don't want anything to do with this," and everybody clammed up because he, according to the article, he reached out to all the players, Field, McConnell, all of them, to try and find out what their side of the story is, and they all refused. And here's people that are supposedly going around trying to get the truth out about all this child trafficking, satanic ritual abuse, the phony courts, and all this. And these people say, no, we're not going to do that. Why? If you're telling the truth about something, and somebody comes along to give you a chance to get your story out to 1 million people, why not take it? But he runs and hides. And everybody runs and hides. Randy Erickson basically dismissed, excuse me folks, Randy Erickson basically dismissed the whole thing. He says it's a clown show. He says, I'm not having any part of it. And the task force Twitter account is having a field day with all of this. So, but August 6th, at close to 6 o'clock p.m., actually 5:51 p.m., is the last entry that was made on Tim Holmseth's Facebook account in his name. Yeah, Daniel Lee's got a little bit of a legal pickle of his own that he's going to have to come up with here, because he was served a summons saying that he is involved in, as a defendant in a lawsuit that has 10 defendants tacked to it. So when this thing opens up in Ohio, it's going to be one of these suckers that I would love to be able to fly up to and cover. So we've got that to look forward to. Kim, yeah. A bunch of people have put your injunction up there, including me. But that's been a while. Well, Alexandra, what about the other defendants? There's 10 defendants named in that lawsuit. Wouldn't they have to answer the summons, or the attorneys could just say, okay, we'll go to the next one, and just keep going through them one by one? They default, then he can turn around and file for injunction relief. I guess injunctive relief. I guess this is something that Kim can allude to since she's the lawyer in here. But I would think that, it's a domino. You get one, you move on to the next one. And they can go after Daniel Lee for damages and court costs anyway, since he's lost by default. Yeah, you don't want to default in a lawsuit. It's just makes things a lot worse. I'll be right back. I gotta take care of something. Okay, I just thought I'd bring in one of the two mascots. This is Skippy for anybody that's in here new. So it's known as a chipbeak or chippepeak or however the hell you pronounce it. I had to get a dog that's hard to pronounce. I thought I'd bring him in so everybody could say hi to the little guy. You know, this dog has got more fur than anything. But he's a cool dog. He's got a face only a mother could deliver. See? Hey, say hi to Kimmy. Hi, everybody. You don't like that, I know. Alright, Skippy, I'll leave you alone. Let me have my mic cord back. Alright. Go clatter away. Good boy. Dog sheds like you wouldn't believe. Amber doesn't shed as bad. She sheds, but not as bad. She's in the back bedroom right now, getting the air conditioning. Whew. But, yeah, I figured I'd let him make his brief appearance. But this line clear here is the last appearance of Tim Holmseth in his name on YouTube. And yeah, there's whereabouts unknown is the best thing you can say right now when it comes to him. Nobody knows where he's at. Video capture device. Alright. Alright, I did it again somewhere. Alright, looks like you're not going to see my ugly face for a while. I seem to have vanished. And I can't find... Well, hi Cynthia. Oh boy. Well, we might as well put her up here since she's part of this. Yeah, for some reason I don't know. Every once in a while I mess around with this thing and my webcam goes off into oblivion. Oh, there's going to be probably the biggest party on the internet when Tim goes down and the rest of these idiots go down. Because, now that we've gotten the situation with the Daily Beast, there's a good chance that a good number of people are going to wish that they hadn't gotten involved in this situation. So that's going to be... I'm setting up... I don't know. But let me catch up on the chat a little bit here. Yeah, we got, my numbers are pretty good tonight. As small as they are, I usually only get 10 or 12 people in here a night, so it's working out pretty good. But, just don't understand. Well, it's the same thing I did the other night with this last night I did. Whatever I did after Skippy went down, I threw my webcam offline. And it's this particular software I have problems with. But, everybody knows what I look like anyway, so heck with that. It's rare that a mugshot makes anybody look good. The problem with Cynthia Abzug is she made a bad call, bad choice. Instead of trying to go through normal channels, find herself a qualified attorney, and try to mitigate her situation, she somehow got mixed up with this bunch. And she's now paying the price for it. Anyone in their right mind would know that you don't go and try and kidnap children from foster care. It's only going to make matters worse, especially if you're trying to leave the country with a child. That's kidnapping. So she's got herself in a great deal of hot water. And God only knows what the result of her situation is going to be. I would guess that this is going to be a jury trial, and she is innocent until proven guilty, so she had better hope that there's a way to get her out of this situation. So there is, that's what, we're going to have to look at here. Very unprofessional slideshow here. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry to hear that. Did they, Sharp, did they say what the cause of his illness was? Because that, I know he was sick and everything, but they haven't said. I can, that's probably hit the internet, so let me look and see if anything's come up. But, yeah, let's see. Yeah, Trump announced that he passed away. To lose a brother, that's got to be hard. No matter, because this is one time politics takes a back seat, is when something like this happens. Yeah, for some reason I'm not getting. But this just came over the wire. Raw Story did a thing trying to get this in perspective. Of course, I had to put an ad up. Get off of there. Oh, I gotta do it here, dummy. There. Okay, Shar, good of you to drop in. Yeah, so far I haven't lost any of my siblings yet. I have my oldest sibling, my sister, was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's, way up there in age, but so far she's hanging in there. She's in pretty good health, so, yeah, that's going to be tough when she goes. And it's just, that's got to be tough. Okay, Kim, thanks for stopping in. You have a good, safe weekend. I'll be on here again tomorrow night with part 2 if you decide to drop in. You're always welcome, Kim. You're good people. Glad to have you around. But you take it, have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe down there. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, President Trump went to see his brother yesterday, and it's family's family, and so kind of when you have someone younger than you in the family pass on, that's got to be an impact. But I didn't realize he was that ill. Jeez. Okay, let's see what else I can put up there. Oh, where the hell? Alright, now back to the matter at hand. Oh boy. Go down through the story a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be a while before we find out exactly what happened with Trump's brother. But that's going to be tough. No, Tim Holseth, as far as anybody knows, has not been arrested. He's just gone dark. Now, he's done this before, where he just goes away for a certain period of time and then he'll show up and says, oh, I was off on assignment or some such thing. I think the last time he did this, he wound up in San Francisco. All of a sudden pictures popped up on his Facebook page. But I have no idea what's going on with him. But, the timing is interesting because the minute Bill Summers started inquiring with these people for comment on the story, he vanishes. I have a feeling that either A, he got scared, or B, his handler told him to go hide, to stay out of sight and let this blow over. And what these people don't realize is this is not going to blow over for two reasons. First of all, QAnon is constantly in the news. And number two, the actions by these people is going to hit a much broader audience. There's going to be more people now that are going to be aware of what's been going on with these people and what they're being accused of. So, Tim Holmseth is going to get famous, whether he wanted to or not. His presence on the internet was confined to a very straight, very closed group of people within the QAnon community. His exposure was minimal. Now, this is going to spread all over. You know, you got a publication with over 1 million followers and everything. And Bill Summer, going back to his... Now, Bill Summer, Will Summer as he's known, he has 104,000, close to 105,000 followers on his Twitter page alone. So he's a huge presence on social media. And so a lot of people are now going to be exposed to all this information. And, you know, that's more eyes that are going to be looking to see if they can spot Tim, more eyes that are going to start looking into what he's been doing, and more eyes that are going to see the hell he's put a lot of people through. So, you know, a lot of damage is going to be done to Holmseth and others as this goes around. Now, he might pick up a few more positive followers. Is usually what happens with these things. But in the end, it's more than likely that a lot of damage to him is going to be done. Because there's a lot of people that are not happy with what has been going on. Now we have, you know, people are starting, there's somebody from Painesville, Minnesota, weighing in on this. So this is, you know, and this is someone, he's got about 3,000 followers. Bill Graylong. I hope I didn't massacre that name. You know, but this, let's see, now alright, now we have, Jesse Layrich, who has 50,000 followers, has tagged this article. So what's, you know, you get some of these people in here that are, prominent on the internet, start spreading this stuff around, it's going to do a lot of damage to these people. And you know, they're, you know, and as I said earlier, as this spreads around, you're going to see both law enforcement and some of your larger either mainstream media or social media periodicals start picking this story up, and it's going to grow, and it's going to grow exponentially. You know, and this is coming right in the middle of an election cycle, so it's, you know, when people start learning what these people, you know, what these QAnons are doing and the laws that they're breaking, they are going to insist that something be done about this. That, you know, that there be someone step in and say, look, enough is enough. There has to be something done about this. And so that's, you know, that's what's going to be going on here. I'd love to know. So, looks like the chat died a little bit here, but no, he, I don't know where the hell this guy is. He's just off in his own little world somewhere, saying, "Oh my God." I would think, Dodger, that Tim is probably hiding because of the article, and he sure as hell isn't saying anything about it because the timing is there. We're looking at just a little over a week, and Randy made the comment that Will Summers had contacted her for comment on the story, and Will had said that he had contacted Tim Holmes, Southfield, McConnell, and E-Clause for their input, and they refused to talk to him. So everybody is hiding. They're saying, we want no part of this. We don't want our story out there. We want to confine our message to a certain few and not get involved with accounting for our actions. And basically that's what's going on here. Ninja Turtle, wherever you may be, I kind of agree with you. You folks know what you're doing up there better than we do at this point. Okay, let's see. Wow. Interesting. Well, I don't know how Mr. Samus attempted to get a hold of Tim. He may have tried to get a hold of him through his handler, or, Summers is a professional journalist with a lot of resources, so I'm sure he found a way to at least get communication to Tim. Now, remember, Tim has an email address, so he probably just emailed him. He got a hold of Randy through email. What I do is I log into YouTube through my browser, and I can go look at my comments and find them that way. Because what's funny, what I could do if I wanted to, I could open up a browser, go into my channel, and come in as a viewer. It's kind of strange. I did that a couple times when my software screwed up on the other software, and I would just log on to YouTube, click on my channel, and I could actually sit there and see how many people I've got on my subscriber side. And then when I go into my notifications there on my studio that's in YouTube, I can read the comments right there. So that's how I'm able to do that. You can't, I don't know of a way I could do it on this current chat I got open without messing things up. I suppose there's a way I could go in on my studio and check my YouTube without going off the air. But I don't, usually what I do is I don't mess with my monitor, so to speak, because I don't want to knock myself off the air by accident. So what I do is I just go ahead and I just open up my other browser and I go into YouTube that way. And it's one of these things you come across accidentally, because what I used to do is I used to use my browser to keep an eye on my channel to make sure that I was live streaming. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a smartphone and I'll do it that way. So there's ways of accomplishing the goal of getting into the room. What I haven't been able to figure out is how the heck to get my camera back up. It's just, for whatever reason, the thing has knocked itself out and I'm not sure how to bring it back. I did this last night. Um, I pull it down too far and it goes off into oblivion, and there's no way to get it back. So I basically don't have a camera right now. And what I probably could do is let's try this. Okay, well, I'll do that. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Oh well. No, it's not a wire. It's in the software because the camera's on. Because I can bring the camera up through the menu utility. I just can't get it to display in the software. So the camera's working. I just don't know. I just don't know what happened. It's just, it did this last night, and the only way I can correct it is I would have to shut the software down and then reload it. And Levi, what they were trying to figure out is how Bill Sommer contacted Tim Homeseth to try and get a comment. And somebody assumed it was a cell phone number. But what I think probably happened is Will sent him an email and he simply refused comment. Because Tim Homeseth makes it well known what his email is, and I think he's even put his task force finally showed up, and he's even put his cell phone number out there. So task force, Tim Homeseth is not, I repeat, not working with the president. Yeah, he's going to be in Minnesota. It's funny, this is not the first time Donald Trump has been in Minnesota, and nothing happened back then. I mean, there was this big rally. Tim Homeseth got as far as probably 15, 20 miles, and nothing ever became of that. Task force, you can lie all you want. You can lie until you're blue in the face, but you've been exposed, and you're going to continue to be exposed. You people are frauds. So you can whine and cry and say, oh yeah, Trump is coming to Minnesota to see Timmy. Bullshit. So, knock yourself out, task force. I think it's funny as hell. Answer me this. Why didn't Randy Erickson want to talk to Bill Sommer? This is what's interesting, task force. You guys say, I've heard you guys whine and cry in the past. Oh, mainstream media isn't covering this stuff. They aren't covering the Ks. They aren't covering the subways. They aren't covering this. This is your chance to get your story out. And you said, oh no, I don't want any part of the circus. Ah, jeez. Here we go. Will Sommer is a rogue CIA agent. Holy crap. I knew you guys had come up with something. I just knew it. Who's on the board of Daily Beast? Why don't you tell us, you freaking know-it-all? You guys are a laugh. The biggest freaking laugh. You can't even come in here yourself. You gotta hide behind some stupid task force name. I love it. But, you don't have to worry about a 15 viewer blog now. Why don't you go over and talk to the Daily Beast? Go on their comment page. You come in here because you're safe. But you don't have the guts to confront Will Sommer directly. Of course it's Randy. Well, so what? According to you, Tim Homseth is on the board of the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. So what? You know, you people are right-leaning politically. Everything is right-wing, right-wing. You want a one-party government. You don't want a democracy. You want a dictatorship. You don't want any elections or any of that. Everybody's got to be on the right fringes. And you people are sovereign citizens. You don't even believe in the United States to begin with. You know, you've had a history prior to the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, prior to even knowing who Timmy was. Your writings, your points of view go back a long, long, long time. You just forgot about that. So, yeah, but it's funny, yeah. Why not? Will Summers telling the truth. Why are you promoting Tim Homseth? He's on the right. You're promoting Tim Homseth. Will Summer happens to be a real professional journalist. So, truth knows no political party. You do not know the truth. You do not believe in God because you violate the commandments. You are bearing false witnesses. You are declaring that you are part of the United States government, which you are not. The Pentagon Pedophile Task Force is a fraud. You're using the trademark or symbol of a military agency to front your fraud. You are engaging in a kind of stolen valor because you're misrepresenting yourself. You people have no part of the federal government. Millie Weaver got arrested for burglary. I believe there's like 4 charges against her. I never even heard of her until it popped up on the internet. She's another one of these whack jobs. She's as wacky as Task Force is, if not worse. Task Force is a fraud. F-R-A-U-D. Yeah, domestic violence. I don't know who got charged, the husband or the wife on that one. But there's burglary charges, something to have to do with evidence. So yeah, it has nothing to do with any breaking news. I mean, woman's an idiot. They're all idiots. It's a freaking joke. No, it's Randy. Timothy doesn't have the balls to get on the internet right now. He's off hiding. Like a little coward he is. Nobody, somebody as big as the Daily Beast comes running along and they all scurry over here to troll me. They don't dare fool around with Belle Summer. They don't, they know that they've met their match. Because this is only the first salvo in a series. And it's not only the Daily Beast. There's a lot of people that are starting to look into the actions of this group of grifters. So, let's not get involved in homophobia here. I support gay rights. If she wants to be a lesbian, she has the right to do that. I have no objection to that. So. Uh, this Millie person that is another QAnon nut and her husband got arrested, and one of the charges being levied against them is domestic violence. Yeah, Millie Weaver. The reason the link was sent to me, she got arrested while live streaming. Yeah, that's if it's really her mother that posted. But she could get the charges dropped. She could say, because she could say, look, if it was her that was burglarized, she could get the charges dropped and they would be out right now. And the charges have not been. They're held without bond. There's no bond. So there's something going on. The mother could call up right now and said, I'm not pressing charges. I'm not going to testify. Blah blah blah. And the prosecution, they have no choice but to release them and throw the whole thing out. And that has not been done. Because if the mother is not going to say anything, the case is dead. Now the domestic violence may be there, depending on what was entailed there. But as far as the burglary, if the witness does not cooperate, you can't do anything. The victim in this case. That's what happens with a lot of domestic violence cases is the victim decides they don't want to testify and the case gets thrown out. If it is the mother and she said it's a misunderstanding, then the charges will be dropped. Should have been dropped, and they should be let out because it's not, the case is dead before it even, the case is dead before it even goes to trial because without witnesses, the prosecutors can't do anything. So, it's, I guess for people that are interested in the story, they can follow it and see what happens. But this is just another one of these idiots that gets themselves into trouble. Well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what comes out on this situation. Because if the mother does not cooperate, the case is dead. They're going to wind up spending 72 hours in jail, and they're going to have to be released because the prosecutor's not going to be able to do anything. But a grand jury indictment for a burglary, there's something more to what's going on here. It's rare that a grand jury indicts somebody on a residential burglary. There's something else going on. So when the arraignment comes up, that's when we'll have the full story. So, and the earliest there's going to be an arraignment is Monday, because I don't know if they're going to do anything. This is Saturday evening, getting into Sunday in about 45 minutes. So it's going to be Monday at the earliest, I think, before we find out exactly what's going on. Yeah, Dodger, that's it exactly. It's going to be Monday before we find anything out. Yeah, I observe a lot of cases down here in the Orange County Court, and I don't think I've ever seen a case where a burglary of a residence results in a grand jury. It's usually it gets handed to the district attorney, state attorney. They make a decision where the case is going to go, and it goes forward. So, for it to be put in the You know, for this to be put... Oh, our bigot is back. Now, this is a proof right here that Tim Homseth supports bigotry and racism, because this person here is one of this pickaninny at your service is a person that believes in slavery and believes in subjugating blacks. This person has made statements stating that he had a slave, or she had a slave at Phil McConnell's house, and likes slavery. And that particular term is even more offensive than the N-word, because it's saying that you have a child slave. That's what it stands for. So Tim Homseth, by being a friend of this person, is supporting child slavery, which is kind of interesting. You wouldn't think that Tim Homseth would be supporting slavery, but apparently that's what's going on here. I'm going to try and fix this. Yeah, that's better. But this bimbo, Millie Weaver, is a reporter for InfoWars. And what's funny about this is Tim Homseth attacked Alex Jones of InfoWars. You know, he went after them. I'm wondering, I'm beginning to think by the writing style and everything that this at your service person is actually Tim Homseth. Because apparently Tim Homseth believes in this stuff. He believes in child slavery. Yeah, so we have Tim Homseth in here supporting child slavery, in my opinion. The proof is right here on my chat, folks. Tim Homseth supports child abuse. Because he knows about this person. This person's a big supporter of his, and he does not object to the writing that comes on his. He has yet to comment about it. So this is more than likely Tim himself, or someone that is closely associated with him, like perhaps his handler, that supports the exploitation of children as slavery. Oh, they're hypocrites, Levi. They, Tim Homseth said at one time that he was against violence, yet he advocates that if somebody comes to your door, you have the right to shoot to kill. Well, yeah, a lot of people don't like Alex Jones. The funny thing is this is, Randy defended this woman. It's also, if you look up the term, it's a racial slur. And I'm going to look that up so people understand what's going on here, because apparently they don't. The candy in question, if I remember correctly, I got to open up another. Okay, before I do anything, I've got to put. I'm going to put this out of the way for just a minute. Where the hell did my thing go? Yeah, but the thing of it is, that's a racial slur. And I'm going to open up another browser. I gotta do a couple things here. So people understand what Tim Homeseth believes in the world. Because the Pekingese but this is what Tim Homeseth supports. Yeah. Because he has not come out objecting to this person representing him. And let's see, I gotta... Damn thing only allows... But, the definition has to do with children. And for someone that is supposed to be the defender of children to come along and condone this kind of behavior as a defender of him, it speaks a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this a different way. This thing isn't allowing me to. I'm trying to bring in this in a certain way, and it's not allowing it. So let's try it this way. But this is very bigoted. I have personally talked to people that do not like that term at all. God darn it! This is aggravating. This thing is not. Trying to get a reference in here, and this thing is not cooperating, so sorry folks. Now let's see if this doesn't. Nope, this... Sheesh. Having to do something here. All right, now let me see if it'll let this go. Yeah. But just so you know, this is what Tim's supporters spread around. But this is all Jim Crow stuff. But that gives a reference. This is what Tim Homseth represents. And, you know, whoever this person is that comes in here, they're Jim Crow. And these are very, very vulgar and racist people. But this is the source of the material that I just put up here. And, yeah, it's a lot of stereotyping, very offensive to the blacks. You know, so this is oh, good night, Martha. Thanks for coming in. But, you know, when you see the kind of people that Tim Homseth has as supporters, then you begin to realize that these are very racist, bigoted people, white supremacists, sovereign citizens. They're not out for children unless they're white children. You know, that's the thing. You know, I suppose if the children are white, then you're going to get people like Randy and Tim who are going to defend them. But if they're black children or immigrant children, then they are going to get labeled as to what Timmy and his supporters really think of them. And the proof of the pudding is this person that's come in here 2 nights in a row and used that term. You know, Tim condones bigotry. He has yet to come in or comment on anywhere on social media that he objects to what this at your service posts. He condones it, which means he supports bigotry and he supports racism. This is the true Timmy. You know, guilt by association. Tim even said in his book, likes attract. And so Tim attracts people like this at your service person. This is the kind of people that Tim Homseth wants in his corner. So Well, Martha, what this this is an example of the kind of people that Tim Holmeseth hangs around with. You know, why hide the kind of bigoted, racist people that are attracted to Tim Holmeseth? This is, he doesn't care. As long as he gets his attention, this is what he wants. That's just the way it is. Good night, Martha. I had scrolled up. I didn't realize you left. So, But this, but I think our resident bigot left, so I'm going to take this off. Trying to figure out. Yeah, we'll leave Timmy up there. What the heck? But good night, Martha. You have a good one. Thanks for dropping in. Feel free to come in anytime. So. It's kind of too bad that for whatever reason that Tim Holmeseth would embrace bigotry, but it's the way it is. Okay, we're getting in dead air here, which is a disaster of the thread. I'm not. Yeah, that's okay. I just saw your retweet over, or your tweet over on Twitter. Yeah, I just kind of going through Twitter. Things have slowed down a little bit. Yeah, because that particular person, the at your service under a different name, has been on my chat for quite some time, and I know Tim has been in here and looked at the chat when that person is in here, and he has said nothing about it. He hasn't objected about it. He hasn't asked the person to stop. None of it. So one has to conclude that Tim Holmeseth condones bigotry. It's obvious. And, and so does the bulk of people that are involved in the QAnon movement, because you see the racism every day attributed to these people. So that's one of the reasons I have a problem with QAnon. because of this blatant racism that goes on. Now, there may be some people out there that are part of Q that don't condone this sort of thing, but you don't hear them talking and saying anything. So, until QAnon steps up and starts saying that we don't condone this crap, they're not going to get my support. And they're not going to get it anyway, because I think they're ridiculous. I think someone is either playing games with the public, or this is a foreign operation interfering with our election and with our debate. But, it looks like things are starting to wind down just a little bit. I think I'm going to continue right up until midnight and then probably call it for tonight. Well, the funny thing is, we don't know what Q is. I mean, everybody speculates that Q is this, Q is that, Q is an individual, Q is a group, Q is a former intelligence, so on and so forth, but there has been no concrete proof as to who or what Q is. And as long as this continues, good night, Levi, you have a good one. I got about 20 minutes left and then I'm going to knock it down. Because usually when it gets to this level, it's pretty well time to wrap it up. But this has been one of my better live streams, I'll say that. But, it's an event-driven process. The Daily Beast article is bringing out, finally, the truth. And so now, we're going to see where this goes. Is this going to be a one-hit pony, or is Daily Beast going to be the start of something that's going to be a continuing trend, and people are going to start being held accountable for the grifting and fraud that they're doing on the internet? This is, what one can hope is that the truth is going to start finally coming out, and these people are going to be exposed for the frauds and the criminals that they are. People are paying into this. There's a lot of damage being done by these people with the lies that they're telling, and at some point, it's gotta stop, and at least some of these people will be taken out of the picture. I mean, you're never going to completely end this kind of thing. We see this with Anonymous. There's bad people within the Anonymous movement. You knock down one, two more others show up. So, who the hell is this guy? Yeah, it's an absolute fraud dodger, and at some point, it's got to come to an end. But there's going to be, for every one person or every group that gets taken down, two more pop up. It's going to be a never-ending cycle until the fad wears off, because that's what this is. QAnon is a fad. Eventually, people are going to get bored, and they're going to come up with something else. The election's going to come. Either Trump is going to be voted in, or he's going to be voted out. And depending on what happens, that's going to be the end of QAnon. Because we hear less and less every day about Anonymous. Boy, that guy reminds me of Hobbit. The best one can hope for is to mitigate, to put as many of these people in jail or off the air as possible. That's all you can do. Because there's always going to be, conspiracy theories have been around since the days of AM radio. You had Coast to Coast America, you had the ultra-right people like Rush Limbaugh that have been around for decades. So the stuff is always going to be out there, but it's going to be relegated back into the woods where it belongs. You're going to have that 20 to 25% of the population that believe this crap, but their effectiveness is what's going to get diminished. So that's what one can hope for. And in this particular case, if the drifters that are attacking Kim and other people need to go. They need to be incarcerated. They need to be exposed for the frauds they are. And this is what the Daily Beast has done. They have taken the first step by a major publication to expose all of these people for the frauds that they are. So, I think Tim understands because he's in hiding. Now, it doesn't matter. For every hour and every day that Tim Homseth stays dark, his credibility deteriorates. Because the timing is there. The minute he got wind of what Daily Beast was up to, he ran away. That's what he does. He runs away. He had to go to court. He ran away. The perfect place for him to get his story out, and he ran away. That's all he knows how to do. And as the evidence piles up, we're building with what Daily Beast is doing, what Mako's doing, what Dodger's doing, what Glow is doing, what Rebecca's doing. We're building a foundation of evidence. We're showing people what these frauds are doing on a daily basis. And this information gets stockpiled. And it gets the attention of people like Will Sommers of Daily Beast. And Will Sommers says, okay, I got to look into this. This is something else. And he finds the magnitude of these frauds. He puts it all together, connects the dots, and we have this article. And other people are going to start doing it. Because the majority of the public do not like actions of people like Tim Homseth, Randy, and Chris, and Kirk, and so on. And they're going to demand something be done about it. And the pressure's going to be put on law enforcement, pressure's going to be put on the courts, and these people are going to be held accountable. I said this a long time ago. The more attention that's paid to this by the authorities, the more likely it is that something's going to be done about it. And it takes everyone constantly and repeatedly complaining about the actions of these people. You call your local law enforcement, and you badger YouTube with complaints. You badger Facebook and Twitter and so on and so forth. And get to be the squeaky wheel out there. Say, look, we're fed up. We don't like the lies. We don't like the victimization, especially of children. And we don't like people like At Your Service coming in here and trying to stir up bigotry and racism. Because we have enough problems with that now. We don't need more of it. And that's what this At Your Service is trying to do with this disgusting racial epithet. They are coming in here and spreading this filth. And they don't care. They don't have a soul. They're a dark person with a dark life. And this is the kind of people that Tim Homeseth attracts. Now Tim has crossed the line and advocated violence. This is something he said he was never going to do, and now he's doing it. In one of his more recent postings before he went dark. And so he's changed. He's become the new Kaczynski. I just got through watching the Netflix documentary about Ted Kaczynski. He was interviewed by a woman, and they went through using his words and the timeline of all the acts of violence and the bombings of everything in his manifesto to show how he evolved from being a college professor to being one of the most prolific serial bombers in the history of the United States. And it's amazing to watch that documentary and not help but to compare it to Tim Homeseth. There's so much of how this person thought and what this person did that matches the Unabomber. So you kind of wonder, what exactly is it that Tim Homeseth is doing out there when he's not on the internet? Now, I'm pretty sure he's not going out and planting bombs and blowing people up. But what exactly is he doing? He's not going around looking for caves or tunnels or any of that. But he's doing something. And as erratic as Tim is, based on both his book and his past behavior and all his writings, you have to wonder, what exactly is this guy up to? He's running around in a car full of junk. He's avoiding contact. He's isolating himself. He has very limited contact with people. He hides. And a person that starts to isolate themselves from society, minimalizing contact with society, letting himself go, speaks to something being wrong. Now, one thing that was brought out in the Kaczynski story is that there was a traumatic event that happened early in his life. He was subject to a very bizarre and weird experiment in college that would never be allowed today. There was an incident that happened back when he was an infant where he got sick. They put him in the hospital. He was isolated from his family for a week. And that led to him withdrawing from the family after he got out. So, you have to wonder, Tim Homeseth is adopted. Tim Homeseth rarely, if ever, talks about his birth mother. Doesn't talk about his birth father. The only people that Tim talks about are his adoptive parents. Now, this is an open adoption, so he knows who his parents are. But he doesn't talk about them, doesn't mention them. He's never said their name. So what is it that happened between Tim and his birth parents, no matter what age, whether he was a toddler or what have you, because I don't believe Tim has ever said what age he was when he was adopted by his adoptive parents. But something happened in his life, starting with the adoption. For some reason, the birth parents, gave him up. Why did the birth parents give him up? You answer that question, we might know what is going on with Tim Homeseth. Why is he the way he is? Why he does not have any empathy towards those people he attacks? Why he has no conscience? Why he has no soul? Why is it that Tim Homeseth feels he has to lie and exaggerate about everything? He refuses to act normal. He refuses to integrate with society. He refuses to engage in honest debate. He simply makes things up. And he makes himself out to be important. He's got to be the top person, the important person in this task force. He has to be the protected witness in a national child investigation. He has to be this special person that's going to go over to England and testify in front of this tribunal. I mean, all these vastly important and, well, I don't know what the word I could think of, just the self-importance that he has. He wants to be the big shot. And yes, it's possible he's a narcissist, because that is what he acts like. He's very self-important. He doesn't trust anybody. If he sees even the slightest hint that somebody is turning on him, he'll drop them like a hot potato, start calling them pedophiles. This is what he did to Chad. This is what he did to Tom. He turned around and called them pedophiles. After these people went out of their way, risked their freedom by helping a fugitive from justice and getting his property in storage, keeping all his papers in his car while he goes running away. And then, on the word of his handler, who seems to have this control over his life, he turns against him. And, you know, when I saw the Kaczynski documentary, all the signs were there. So, you know, Tim Holseth is someone that could have turned into a Kaczynski if the circumstances were right, if he had the knowledge base that Kaczynski had. You know, so thank God for that. You know, he doesn't have the brains to tie his shoes. So he's not going to, I've already done research into narcissism. I know exactly. But this is, more accurately, Tim Holseth, in my opinion, is a sociopath. It's very similar to a narcissist. It's basically, it's on Netflix right now. It's a, I believe, 5 or 6 part series. It's fascinating. Even to get insight into Kaczynski, you know, without even getting thoughts of Tim Holseth involved. It's an amazing series. But you can't help by knowing who Tim is comparing himself. But, you know, I really honestly believe that, in my opinion, that Tim Holseth is a sociopath. It's on demand, so you can watch it anytime you want. But, you know, it's 5-minute warning here. But not only Tim, but the people that follow him. And this at your service person is a sociopath. You know, to go on and, for whatever reason, make these disgusting comments that they made on my chat tonight and not be bothered by people calling them out. There's something seriously wrong. You know, I think, for whatever reason, Tim Holseth is attracting sociopaths. And that Phil McConnell sir acts like he's a sociopath, and Randy acts like she is a sociopath. So that seems to be what all these people are. You know, these people don't have a conscience, they don't have a soul, they don't believe in taking responsibility for their actions. They use excuses. This has come out in the past that there's been conclusions by various people in the know that Tim Holseth is a sociopath. That's a pretty broad term. Narcissism is a product of sociopath, of the definition of a sociopath. Tim just is a defiant person. Now, and there's early signs of it. I mean, he started out with setting fires. He was on his way to being an arsonist. He got into a situation where he really abused alcohol. And he abused alcohol to the point where he nearly died. Now, he claims that he no longer drinks. And, the problem is we can only take his word for it. We don't know for sure because Tim Homseth has a problem with telling the truth. So, did he stop drinking or didn't he? We don't know. There's nobody going up to him and say, take a breathalyzer test. If they get caught driving and drunk, then we'll find out. But, that's what I said, Dodger, that a sociopath is a whole series of social deficiencies of which narcissism is but one element. It's somebody that's antisocial and, has generally a lack of morals and so forth. But, one has to wonder, did Tim Homseth really stop? Has he fallen off the wagon? Or is he psychologically damaged or even mentally damaged due to his extreme abuse of alcohol? I mean, to get yourself drunk to the point where you nearly die in a psychiatric ward, there's something seriously wrong with you. So, and good evening, Ava. Thanks for stopping in. When you read the court documents where the psychiatrist or psychologist made her opinion known as to who Tim Homseth was, he may not be crazy, but he's got something bad wrong with him. That's the one thing about Ted Kaczynski. He was angry because they tried to make him insane, to declare him insane, and he wouldn't tolerate the insanity defense. And even, they could not use the insanity defense against him because what they did is they proved that he knew what he was doing was against the law, that he was wrong in doing what he was doing, but he justified it, and so he was competent to stand trial, and the same holds true of Tim Homseth. The only thing the court examination proved is that Tim Homseth was competent to stand trial, period. That's all it proved, nothing else. Did not get into any psychological problems, did not get into that he should be on lithium or something else. All it has shown is that Tim Homseth is competent to stand trial. He cannot use the insanity defense in court. And so, if he ever gets arrested on whatever charge, the insanity defense goes out the window. So, with that, we are at the 3-hour point. I will be back here 9 p.m. tomorrow night for another Murdathon where we will get into, among other subjects, part 2 of the Daily Beast article. So be sure to tune in. Be sure to like and subscribe. Any of you who are not subscribers yet, I would appreciate subscribing. And click the notifications so that you get notified of when I put up more videos. Because I will be putting up recorded videos between my live streams, and the subjects are going to vary widely. So until we meet again, stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and have a good one.